Hi, welcome to Moments with Marilyn. I'm your host, Marilyn Boyer. It is my passion to encourage young moms and to share tips and tools to make your journey easier. Today, we're going to be talking about ways to spend quality time with each one of your kids. I know it's challenging. I had 14, and it's very difficult to try to spend time with each one. And I'm going to give you some ideas. I'm also going to link to this handout that I have, 10 ways to spend quality time with each one of your kids. We'll go over that first, but then I've got a bunch of other ideas that I'd like to share with you too. Okay, Rick and I were concerned that we weren't spending time with some of our kids. The ones that were quiet were the ones that we felt were getting left out. So we started doing what we called special nights out. And we would take one child at a time, and we would take them out to eat. We'd get a babysitter for the others, or if we had older kids, we'd have one of them babysit. But we would take our kids out one at a time. And we did this on a rotating basis. Maybe once a month we would take one child. So, it took a while. Maybe we did it every 3 weeks so that we could get to kids more often. And we called it Special Night Out. We had a list of restaurants, and the kids could choose from that list of restaurants where they wanted to eat. And they would plan, for when their turn came, and even if they had to wait for a few go-arounds, they would be planning where they were going to eat when they went out. And we spent the evening talking about what they wanted to talk about. We were tempted for me and Rick to talk about something, but we tried to not do that and just talk with that child about whatever they wanted to talk about and what they were interested about. And we found that the ones who were super quiet at home, generally they would open up and they'd be talk, quite chatty when they were out by themselves with mom and dad. And we're continuing that tradition now with our grandkids. Sometimes we bring them back home after dinner and play a board game or read or go to the bookstore. And be creative. Ask your kids what they'd like to do. Sometimes we would take one of our kids to the library after we did Special Night Out. But we found that that was just a great way to catch up with them on what was going on in their life and make them feel special, like we cared about them. Number 2, take one shopping with you when you do errands. Raising 14 kids seemed like I was always doing errands. And it was super fun just taking one child with me. Now, obviously, I couldn't do this when I had 4 little kids. You'd have to take them all with you when you did that. But when you've got one old enough to babysit, I would leave the others home and take one child with me. Sometimes we'd go for ice cream or a special fun drink or something. If we got all our shopping done. And if they needed clothes or something, take them and let them pick the clothes. Often with my kids, I would let them plan a meal, and it would be a fun time to take them out and let them shop for the meal that they had planned. I wanted my kids to learn how to plan healthy meals, and I would then let them help me cook the meal, but they would get to shop for the meal, plan the meal, shop for the meal, and come home and cook the meal for the family. And that was just a fun thing to do. They really looked forward to that. But use it as a time to connect with them. Listen when they speak and learn to delight in who God made them to be. Number 3, take turns letting one child help you cook. My kids loved this. You can't really concentrate and cook if you've got 5 kids in the kitchen trying to help you at once, but do one at a time. During the process, they learn how to cook, they learn skills that often use in life, but at the same time, it makes them feel special. It's a fun way to spend time together. Number 4, pray with each child separately before you put them to bed at night. I would always go in, especially the little kids, and pray with them and tell them stories. Kids loved stories, and of course, snuggle with the cuddly ones. I found this time of day, maybe because they didn't want to go to sleep, it was a very conducive time to discuss spiritual things. So it was a great opportunity to briefly discuss what had gone on during the day, the struggles they'd faced, the victories they'd experienced, or just the fun times they'd had. I remember one of my daughters saying, you know what, my friend so-and-so said her mom doesn't snuggle with her at night. So, you've got some kids that are snugglers, others don't want to, but if you've got a snuggler, snuggle with them. It's just a really good time to connect with your kids before they go to bed each night. Plus, you're leaving them with a positive experience of you, of thoughts of you. And as I say, pray with them. And I would try to think of something they did right during the day and thank God that they were so diligent in wiping the crumbs off the counter or vacuuming or whatever. And just mentioning their name to God in prayer does something to their spirit. The next day they're going to try all the more to do that job more diligently because it's a reminder that God's watching them and that God sees what they do. But also that it's noticed, that you notice what they do and God notices what they do. Tell lots of stories. My kids absolutely love to hear stories about when I was a kid or when they or their siblings were kids. Use this as a valuable teaching time in a fun and engaging way. Sometimes I would call my sister on the phone for fresh stories when my stock had run dry. But they love to hear about things you did when you were little, things that were special to you, special experiences that you had, a trip to the zoo, or even funny, cute things that their siblings did or that they did when they were little. And, my grandkids do this too. My almost 3-year-old put him down Sunday night for a nap, and he wanted to hear stories. And he'd say, more, more, more. So I told him stories about his mom when she was little. So you can use that as valuable teaching time. Plus, it's just a neat way of connecting. Kids remember stories. And if you kind of get a little lesson in there, like something their mom did wrong and the results, or they did right and the results, they're not going to forget that. They are going to remember that forever because the story factor means so much. Number 6, spend time in the Word with them daily. When I had little ones, I would put them all down and then I'd bring them up one at a time for naps, and I'd spend like 5 minutes of alone time with each one a day. We'd learn scriptures geared to their troublesome areas, or if they were very little, we'd just learn a Bible story. Number 7, look at picture albums with your kids. We spent many hours as the kids were growing up just looking at pictures and recalling fun times and events. And it was really a way to make everyone feel special. Now, I know people don't really print pictures much anymore, but do that intentionally sometime. Print some pictures of when they were a baby or when they were toddlers or through their growing up years, and maybe even do an album together or put together an album digitally or whatever. But spend time with pictures and remember those fun times and talk about those fun times. I know when our son Josh went to heaven, he was 17 and he was our 4th child. But it was just a real healing time. We worked on picture albums of Josh, and we talked about Josh, and we talked about fun times with Josh, and I'd have the kids write their memories. So pictures are a great way. They're kind of a glue that holds a family together. So make use of them. Number 8, serve others together. And this is huge. Train your kids to look for needs in others. Visit a lonely widower or a widow. Listen for hints of treats that you might bring them next time. Ask them questions about their life. Be interested in their lives. Sometimes do projects to help them, like raking their leaves or shoveling their walk. When you work with your kids to serve others and encourage them to pour into others, it's going to become a habit and a way of life. And it has blessed me so much to watch my adult kids be true servants and look for needs in others and meet those needs and minister to others in that way. And just, it means so much to others to have somebody invest in their lives. And it brings you closer as a family when you're ministering to others, and it gets your kids' focus off themselves and helps them to put others first. It's so important. Number 9, plan fun times. My kids and I would brainstorm so that we could open up our home and serve together. We still have Christmas bonfires, Independence Day cookouts, which emphasize the true birth of our country. We would do meals for widowers. We'd take meals to new moms. I mean, I could go on and on with ideas of things that we have done together to have fun times, even a game night, organize a game night, encourage your kids to invite their friends or their cousins or whatever to have a game night. We've done that a lot. Our home is an open home, and we've invited the kids' friends through the years, and we've had so many fun times. Invite kids' friends over and make chocolate chip cookies. We would do that, and we'd take them to the emergency service people with a note of our thanks to them. I mean, there's just so many fun things that you can do. Don't be bogged down and distracted by screen time. Think of fun things that you can do as a family to interact and to reach out and to serve others. When we walk into our local sheriff's department at Christmas time with cookies, they know us. We've done it so many years. I've done it with my kids. Now we're doing it with our grandkids. And they say, "Hi, Miss Boyer." I mean, they know us because we've done it so many times. And what better could you do than reach out and thank the local firemen or the sheriff's department, the police department, and thank them for their service for us, the rescue squad. Reach out to others. Look for needs that you can meet. Veterans, oh boy, we'll talk about that in a minute. But number 10, to finish this handout, birthday suppers. We would do everyone's birthday up big, and right now we're getting to where we need to combine a couple birthdays together because there's like 46 of us in the family. We'd have a birthday every day of the week, pretty much. But we let the birthday person choose the meal, and we hang up photos of the person through the years. And my girls began making a birthday breakfast for their siblings. That's something they just did on their own, and sometimes still manage to do that to celebrate their birthdays. But birthdays are special. Just find a way. If you have a special birthday plate, or go around the table and people say something that they appreciate about the birthday person. Even if sometimes we celebrate birthdays of everybody, like all the October birthdays. We just did that. Last Friday night, we had all the October birthday people, and we celebrated their birthdays. But do something to let people know that they're special to you and that you appreciate them. And this is a way that you can spend time with some of your kids to prepare to do some of these things. Okay, we said take them with you shopping. Go to the library together. Go to a bookstore. Do a sewing project. We've got some examples of that on our blog, characterconceptsblog.com. This year, I am doing sewing with one of my granddaughters, and it is so much fun. We made a little pillow. We made a baby blanket for my daughter, her aunt that's expecting a baby. Skills like that are so important for kids to learn. If you know them, teach them to your kids. Find a time when you can do that. Take a trip to a historical place or a museum. This is a great way to spend time with your kids. You might want to do it as a family, or you might want to do it with one or two kids separately. Work on a project they want to do. And this is important, not something you come up with for them, but something they want to do. Whether it's a son who wants to build bookcases, or a son who wants to build birdhouses, or a child who wants to have tropical fish, you can take them to the fish store and learn about the different kinds of fish. Making something to give, making cookies to give somebody. Just the ideas are endless, but a project that they want to do, let them come up with an idea of something that is important to them, and then do it with them. One year, one of my daughters, she was a teen, she loves beautiful scenery. So we took a ride one afternoon, and we went up to the mountains, and we took our camera, and we stopped along the way and just took gorgeous pictures of scenery. And it was such a fun time spending the afternoon with her. And we've got some of those pictures hanging on the wall right now. I see them as I'm looking over to my seasonal pictures there. Find something that is important to them and plan a day to do it with them. Even a shopping trip. If you've got a daughter or even a son who wants to go to Dick's or Cabela's, Tractor Supply, or a daughter who wants to go to a clothing store, whatever. Do what interests them. Take a trip to the woods. Take your little guys out to the woods. Collect leaves and acorns. We would give them little bags. We called them Possibles bags, which was from some story that Rick read when he was a kid. But we'd take their little Possibles bags out and we'd find pretty autumn leaves or acorns or moss or pretty rocks, and we'd let the kids collect them. Interviewing veterans or elderly people. This has been a huge part of our life, and I am so glad we did this. Vets can teach you so much, and it can teach you about history, but it also teaches you about honoring and appreciating others. And I've got a couple podcasts where we actually interview some vets, and another one where I talk about interviewing vets. It's one of the best things I did, and I only did it with my younger kids. I wish I'd done it with my older, but I'm doing it with my grandkids now too. It is amazing. Reading to them, even high schoolers. You know, I remember getting carried away occasionally and reading all day and forgetting about the other school. We were reading about Kabantuan, the prison camp, Japanese prison camp where it had American prisoners during World War II. And we got into that book, and my daughter and I read all day. That's okay. And she was, I don't know, she was probably high school. It's okay to read a book together. Do a corn maze. Go to the apple orchard. Build a teepee from last summer's dried out corn stalks. We used to do that like every year. The kids would build an Indian teepee. Make some beef jerky or deer jerky like the Indians used to do. One year when it snowed, my husband was a drywall contractor at the time, and he had tons of drywall mud buckets, and it was kind of a loose, kind of a wet snow, so it packed together really well. And he took the kids out, and they packed snow in a drywall mud bucket, and then they built an igloo and pretended they were Eskimos, and it was so fun. You know, we've got memories of that all these years later. Popsicle stick creations. My kids used to love to get a glue gun, and I'd buy one of those boxes of popsicle sticks and let them build houses or barns or any kinds of creations. They loved to do that. They built some really elaborate creations with popsicle sticks. Make brownies. Take them to a shut-in. If you've got a little one, you can teach them to cut straight lines by cutting the brownies. Let them make the brownies and then cut them and learn to make straight lines. Plan a party for the neighbors and share the gospel. Our older sons did that once. They did a basketball party. We had a basketball hoop and a court kind of out of dirt in our yard, and they planned a party, and they had different neighbor kids bring different snacks, and they shared the gospel. We've done dog training. My husband used to train dogs in the Air Force, and then he volunteered for the Sheriff's Department. So we have dogs that know how to track. And if you've got a dog, do some dog training. Teach them to do something valuable, and do that with your kids. Your kids will love it. Even if it's simple commands like sit, down, heel. It's a fun thing to do. Have a photo shoot. If you've got a child who loves taking pictures, let them plan photo shoots. Invite somebody over and take pictures. BB guns. Let them make their own targets and then go out in the woods or in the backyard and shoot targets with their BB guns. Take a CPR class or first aid class together. Marshmallow fight. This is something we love to do. Get marshmallows and get a group together and throw the marshmallows at each other. It is a lot of fun. It's crazy. It's a lot of fun. Take a trip to a pet store and look at the pets. Shop for and wrap up a gift for a poor child. Play miniature golf. Take a trip to the park. Trip to American Legion. Play board games. You know, sometimes sit down and play Candyland or Clue or Life, you know, or Monopoly, whatever. Make placemats with your kids. We would do that at least every Thanksgiving and Christmas. Oriental Trading Company has these really cool pilgrim pictures and nativity, and we'd put the stickers on and then take it to Staples and laminate it, make placemats. Paint pumpkins. That's a fun thing to do in the fall. I'm thinking of fall things because it is fall as I record this. We have a grandson who makes a Jeopardy game, and he thinks up questions, and we'll play Jeopardy, and it's so much fun. He thinks up history questions or, whatever, and we play Jeopardy. Listen to an audiobook together. Take a trip to the craft store. Collect autumn leaves and make photocopies like I was talking about. The kids, and you can do so many projects with leaves. You can do leaf rubbings, turn it over and color the veins and make leaf rubbings, learn the different kinds of leaves. Take a trip to Hobby Lobby for ideas of things that you can make at home, or a trip to Lowe's to get wood for a project that your son wants to make. Let your daughter redecorate the bathroom. You can even just get new towels and a shower curtain and not have to paint and redecorate that way, or help them redecorate their room or make a quilt together. On our blog, we've got directions for making a scripture quilt. Offer to babysit an overwhelmed mom's kids for the afternoon and just do fun stuff with them. Make a meal or a dessert for a widower and deliver it. So special to them. We recently made a meal from an old church cookbook, and we found recipes from a widower's wife who has died. His wife died, and we found some of her recipes, so we made her recipes and brought them to him for supper. Take a fishing trip. My kids love to go fishing. Go hiking. Help them write a book. Our book, Legacies of Character, was written by my grandkids, young teens, and it's stories of World War II vets that they researched, or we actually interviewed the vets. There's no reason that your kids can't write a book. Encourage them. Help them do it. Make lattes and enjoy them together. Try a new recipe. Get new sandbox toys for your little ones and go out and play with them. Make ice cream cones. Organize and label the toy closet. My granddaughter right now comes often when her brother mows for me. She comes and we do organization projects. She loves to help me organize closets. Look at old videos together. I plan soon to get out videos of my kids when they were little and show them to my grandkids. I think they would love to see their parents when they were little. That's a fun thing that I am really looking forward to. Plan a special Christmas present for someone who may not get one. Look for someone who looks lonely in church and bring them a gift, even if it's not Christmas. Just make them a special dessert or a special gift and bring it to them. Samaritan's Purse box for a child, or take someone to Thanksgiving dinner, invite someone to Thanksgiving dinner. We kind of look around, and if there's someone in town that doesn't have anywhere to go, there's a lot of college students in our town, we've often invited them to dinner. Plan to invite someone over you've never had before, and let your kids help you plan to entertain them. Make candy, make Buckeyes, make truffles, Oreo truffles. Teach your kids to crochet. Your girls, let them learn to crochet. Make granny square quilt. Buy a bunch of nails and boards for your little guys. Just learn to hammer. Our second son, that was the best thing you could do for him, is give him nails and a hammer. He was probably 4, and he'd go out and nail nails into a post. And he's an excellent carpenter today because when he was 4 years old, was out banging nails into an old board or an old post. Write a play. Our kids loved history, and we would encourage them to write plays and act it out. The grandkids sometimes get together and act out plays together. It's so much fun. Decorate cupcakes. I would make a batch of cupcakes and let the kids ice them, decorate them all pretty. Do that with the grandkids now. Then give them to someone. Make homemade ice cream. Collect wildflowers and learn to identify them. Wash doll clothes. My sister and I used to love to do this. You can hang a clothesline down real low, let your little ones wash doll clothes out in a basin like they used to do it in the old days, and rinse them and hang them with clothespins on the line to dry. Little girls love to do that. It is so much fun. Play with the play kitchen outside. In the summertime, I'll take it outside. We'll fill the little sink with water and we'll play with it outside. Make fruit yogurt pops. Make a town in the sandbox. Make homemade Play-Doh. Our kids love to play with Play-Doh. Play under the sprinkler on a hot summer day. Cook s'mores over a bonfire. Have a bonfire together. There's so much that you can do just to have special time. Play bubbles. Make bubble stuff and let the kids play with bubble stuff. Little guys love to do that. Outlining shapes. Count M&Ms and then get to eat them. Make special M&M cookies, monster cookies. We have that in our cookbook, Homemade with Love. Our kids love to make monster cookies. Make a fort from blankets. Make paper chains and decorate their room. Make a town out of assorted boxes. Do floor puzzles. Write a letter of gratefulness to a pastor or a grandparent or a neighbor or an elderly person or just someone they see week after week at church. Make a picture for an elderly person. Make a batch of popcorn and string it. Draw with chalk on sandpaper. It's really fun. Wet a piece of manila drawing paper and let them draw with it with chalk. It looks really cool. Make a boat from a walnut shell filled with soap. Stick a toothpick in it and make a sail. Write things I like about Daddy or Grandpa or a pastor or a neighbor. That's a very fun thing to do. Make Muddy Buddies and eat them. Paint with water books. Make a volcano out of baking soda and vinegar and food coloring. Kids love to do that. Play with magnets. Do soap carving. My kids love to do that. If you use a kind of soap like ivory soap, then it floats. When they take a bath, they can float their creation. Design a home. Draw a home. I would have special toys. I would keep some of the toys in my attic and I'd bring them down just to have a special day. If you've got a rainy day, kids are kind of bored, bring down the special toy box. Make recipe cards. My girls love to do this. And then when they get older and they leave home, they've got their own recipes recorded. It's also a great way to teach them handwriting because they want their recipes to be neat. Read special books. Do dolly dressing sticker books. Take pictures and let your kids learn how to take good pictures. Call an elderly person and tell them something you like about them. Play with stencils. So I hope this is just, I know I've been all over the board. I've told you some stuff for young kids, some for older kids, but this is just to get your creative juices flowing. Ways that you can spend special time with one or several or all of them. Special times are what it's all about. Family memories is where it's at. You don't want to let life pass you by and have your kids just have memories of doing what they had to do and the days are drudgery. You want to have fun as a family and as individuals and get to know your kids and find out who they are, find out what delights them and do the things that are their passions, that encourage them. And I would love to hear of any ideas that you have too. Please, share with all of us. We would love to hear your ideas too. Thanks for joining us today. I hope you found this helpful. We'll see you next week. Bye-bye.